share with you how quickly I monetized my very first show. Not this show, but the show that I have sold over 2 years before today. 2 years ago, more than 2 years, I sold a podcast called Creative Real Estate. I sold that show to Jason, and I owned it for a few years before that. Well, guess what? I monetized on the very first episode. The first 3 episodes, I already had a sponsor. I reached out to a company because the microphone and stuff cost me several $100. I was like, damn, it's a lot of money to spend. We had a $500 microphone. I don't even use a $500 microphone anymore. I use a great mic, but it's $250, and I have some other mics at growyourshow.com/PDF where they're like $20, $69, $99. Anyway, they're really good price. And I would prefer those over the $500 mic that I had. At any rate, on our very first episode, because the podcast, we were investing in the podcast, getting like all these just different equipment. Okay. I reached out to a person that had the same avatar as I had, and that I wanted to give them some business, just like I want to give the Poddex guy some business. You know, I believe in the product. I think it's great. I want them to have more business. I want more of you to use that product because I think you'll be a better show host when you do. And so I believe in it. So I'm willing to offer it. Same thing with his. And I never even had one listener. I didn't have a single listener yet. I reached out to him. I said, we're starting a podcast. We just want to cover the equipment. I am looking for $300, and you would be on the first 3 episodes. Would you like to be part of it? So we made $100 an episode before we ever had a listener, by working with somebody who had our exact same avatar, somebody who I knew was sponsoring other types of like events, and they were advertising online. I knew that they had a budget, a financial budget for the growth of their company. And I hooked them up because I actually put them on 6 episodes instead of the 3 that I promised. So I under promised and I over delivered. So technically I only made $50 an episode if you did the math there. But at any rate, I reached out to them, knew they had the same avatar as me. And before I ever had one listener, I already had money coming into the podcast. So when should you think about monetizing your show? You can think about it at any time. I want you to really believe that first threshold, if you will, is just simply because you have a podcast. Other people are going to tell you a completely different story. Most people will tell you a completely different story. Most people are people that fit into some sort of box, and everything that they do needs to fit inside a certain box. And so their first threshold is 3,000 downloads per episode. They're like, don't even think about it until you have 3,000 downloads per episode. Or they'll say something like, you want to have at least 500 downloads per episode because of the CPM model, cost per mil, cost per thousand. And so if you want to make 10, 20, 30, $40 an episode, you've got to have a minimum of 500 downloads per episode to even make it worth it. Well, guys and gals, you don't have to effing fit in this effing box. It makes me so mad. You don't have to fit in a CPM model. You don't have to get paid cost per mil. $40 per thousand. And that means you're only making $20 per episode if you have 500 listeners.